Is it me or have they given a lot of suspensions this week?
Yeah, they have. Like, I mean, the weird thing is most of them are right.
That's what's weird though.
It's that the one that they should have gotten right, they didn't. But we've had that discussion before. Yeah, they've kind of done their job a little bit.
So I'm gonna get up their Twitter account because I've been seeing notifications a lot more than normal. So as like the day after Wilson. By the way, you
Yeah.
know what's really funny about the tweet about how they said Wilson only got the $5,000 fine?
What? What is it?
3.1K likes, 7.5 thousand retweets, and 8,000 comments.
I would hate to be the person who runs that account. By the way,
Oh, I know.
it is.
So the day after that, there was the two games. Sorry, the day after there was the announcement of the Shane Gostisbehere suspension. Buchnevich got his, what we'll talk about a little later. Zach McEwen got suspended for a game.
That was a weird one.
Yeah. Brandon Montour got fined. Tampa Bay Maroon got his hearing. Edmondson got his 1K. Uyghur got fined. Maroon ended up getting a single game we found out an hour ago.
Yeah.
That's a lot very, very quickly, which I found really kind of strange because we don't get it that often actually from player safety. They've been really active, which I don't know. That's just, it's really, really weird. I don't know if that's just me overthinking it, but it's a coincidence.
You remember, when the whole Tim Peel stuff happened and they were talking about makeup calls.
Yeah.
Does it seem like they're just trying to do their job correctly now?
I mean, it only took the Rangers calling them out. And there's the transition, Alex. That's like, before we go, because I saw a video of this and I was really mad about it. Jeff Petry's penalty at the end of the game last night, was that a penalty to you? Because I saw it as a hip check. And I love hip checks, right? Like it's almost like they've gotten rid of them and now it's just like they're clipping calls. But I don't know what it is. I was like, okay. I mean, the chances of us scoring, okay, like still like you blew a 2-0 lead, but like I don't know about that. I thought that was a nice hip check. A hit that we don't have a lot anymore.
I am not entirely sure which one. I'm looking for the video now.
Okay.
I don't know. Remember off the top of my head.
We'll move on. They freaking lost, so whatever. All right, so so first off, we should mention off the top of this whole thing is TJ Oshie in that game versus the Rangers and the Caps, the complete hoopla, so many fights in that, had a hat trick, and this was his first game back after the death of his father. That's incredible for him.
Yes.
What a story. Apparently, like all the Caps players had like Coach Osh on their gear, which is pretty sick. But in that game, I don't remember if it happened after we were recording or whatever. So Pavel Buchnevich, a high stick, a almost cross check to the face on Anthony Mantha.
Yeah.
Gets the 1 game suspension. Now, I thought maybe that would have been more because throughout that play, Anthony Mantha was the definition of poking the bear. Just kept tapping him with his stick. And eventually Buchnevich, and we know how in the NHL, if you get tripped and there's no call and you go and smack the guy with your stick on the leg, if you retaliate, you always get the call and the other guy goes up scot-free.
Right.
The fact that it was only 1 game, I thought was a bit on the nose. It is, I would have loved to have heard that call, by the way. Hey, Pavel, it's George. You know how your team just basically said I should be fired.
Are you like, I thought he was going to get more than 1 game simply for the reason that your team just called out George Parros.
Yeah.
And they don't seem, and I know this would be, if this is actually how they're going to do their job, that is one of the worst things they can do in terms of, well, you just called out my team, I'm going to punish you harder. But I don't think that's how they're run. I think they're smarter than that, but I'm surprised it was 1 game. Yeah.
This is from Twitter user Cam Robinson. With his suspension, Pavel Buchnevich will forfeit $28,017. If he's smart, next time he'll just throw someone's helmetless head onto the ice and save himself $23,000.
Well, actually, that wasn't against the rules, so he'd save himself $28,000.
Man, whatever. So as a response, now I predicted that the fine would be 250K,
Yeah.
based on what Arizona got for their draft testing stuff.
Yes.
So that's what the Rangers ended up getting fined 250K. I'll read the statement from the NHL here. The National Hockey League announced today that the New York Rangers have been fined $250,000 for their public comments on Tuesday, May 4th. Be with you. Quote, public comments of the nature issued by the Rangers that were personal in nature and demeaning of a league executive will not be tolerated, said NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman. While we don't expect our clubs to agree with every decision rendered by the Department of Player Safety, the extent to which the Rangers expressed their disagreement was unacceptable. It is truly unfair to question George Parros' professionalism and dedication to his role and the Department of Player Safety. Now, I think that's a pretty expected. They were going to protect their guy. Whatever. Like, I understand that. But 250K, Alex, I think you said it pretty much. You asked the question of how much did this fine need to be to really send a message to the Rangers. It needed to be more than that.
That was pocket change. I was saying last time, I think we talked, like, oh, here's the concessions from one game. It's probably more than $250,000, just a guess, but
you
there
know
it is.
James Dolan's net worth?
It's in the billions, that I know.
$2.5 billion.
It's pocket change.
Yeah,
it
is nothing.
But again, this statement really doesn't come as a surprise to. It shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody.
No,
really. The thing, and just we had this whole discussion last episode, but I think it still stands with this. What I think we've failed to realize sometimes is that if the NHL wanted to do something, they would do it.
Yes.
I think a large group of hockey fans have this perception of hockey that it doesn't correlate to what the NHL wants.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not gonna, like, you have to know that this shouldn't come as a surprise, which is why I wasn't as upset last episode. Like, you go back and listen to most of the episodes where we complain about Department of Player Safety, I was quite upset. I can't be upset because clearly the NHL has, and by the way, everyone in the NHL is involved. The owners, Bettman, the players, their agents, everyone's involved in this, right? Mm-hmm. Like, they make the rules, they set the fine limits. If you want to complain about the $5,000 fines, by the way, your players set that. Right. Your players, there was no, I bet the league said, hey, can we fine you $100,000? And the agents went, yeah, no, that's not happening. Right. So again, they have different standards than what we as hockey fans have.
What do you expect the next time the Rangers and the Capitals play each other? Whenever that is. It can be exhibition. It can be whatever. What's going to happen?
I think it's going to be spicy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be what it was like last game.
I hope we never get that kind of thing ever again.
You didn't like it.
How everyone loved the Turkish Grand Prix last year because
mm-hmm.
the conditions were complete crap and everyone spun except Lewis, and that's how he somehow won. I don't I would like a wet Grand Prix, but I don't want something that is basically a wet ice rinks type of race. I like mess, but I don't like that level of mess.
Okay.
And I've been to many hockey games in my time. Sometimes you just want it to finish because you're tired. It's a long day. And if I'm watching a game, I hate 4-hour games.
Correct.
You know me, I don't like The Godfather because it's a long movie. I value my time very much, and I mm-hmm. cannot stand when something is too long. It's just, I don't watch hockey. I like the occasional fight. Don't get me wrong. A line brawl that's just slowing the game down before, when we get more penalty minutes and actual minutes played is just a bit of a joke to me. It's not what I love about hockey.
I've been thinking about it like since the day we recorded, right? We recorded on Wednesday. And I thought it was entertaining, but I don't know, like it's not something I'd like to see on a regular basis. And I think that's where my mindset shifts from away from that extreme of hockey fans in terms of, well, listen, whether he suspended Wilson or not, I think that game was going to be messy.
Yeah,
Right.
it was going to be.
It was going to be, whether it was 7, like maybe it wasn't going to be 8 fights. It might have been 3, like who knows. I don't want to see that on a regular basis. Like at the end of the day, the Department of Player Safety is there, but I think the players are still going to police the game whether we like it or not.
Which
is
terrible.
fair. Which
Like-
is terrible, but there's, I don't know what we can do to change that. There's not a whole lot.
Last
feels like.
season, the Battle of Alberta was amazing, and it wasn't because everyone was gooning it up. Yeah, there were big hits with Kachuk and Cassian, and
Right.
we did talk about the validity of some of those hits on the show. But like, are you telling me like you didn't love seeing the Nuge and Sean Monahan throw down? Like you know, you think I love like the last minute of the game. Mike Smith's gonna throw down with would have been Dave Riddich then? Or
Cam Talbot.
Like I like that stuff.
Mhm.
I like it the sportsmanship of Dave Riddich doing the stick flip, even though it's destroyed his career since then somehow. I don't know, like I love the entertainment stuff. You know, I think the Battle of Alberta was and has always sort of been recently a proof of you can have an entertaining fast game without gooning it up. I feel like in some scenarios and in the past, we might see a guy try and go after McDavid. Maybe not Draisaitl because he is a monster. I would not want to fight that German machine. He's basically a Panzer. And Panzer tank, World War stuff for you guys. You know, you can still have that. There's a nice balance. I just don't want the Goonie stuff. You know what I mean?
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I think we had this discussion last episode, right? Like, I don't think the NHL and the PAs and the Department of Player Safety's job is easy, because I think they're like you said, they're in this gray area and they need to find the right gray.
Yes.
And they're just having trouble doing that. For whatever reason, they are having trouble doing that. And if I'm the NHL, I don't, when I go on social media to say that this is what most of the fan base, the most of NHL fans want, is just, it's a mind-boggling thing, because not everyone is on social media. You cannot take a proper evaluation from social media, because the extremes will always be the loudest, no matter what.
That's the thing with Twitter. It's an echo chamber for absolute crap. You know, I love hockey. It's just hockey needs to figure out what hockey is sometimes. It's a great sport. It's just there's a lot of problems with it. A lot of problems.
I gave my solution last episode. It still stands.
Yeah.
Rewrite the rule book and make don't you think that would solve so many problems?
Yeah, but it's just such a stubborn league with so many stubborn minds that have been around for so long in a revolving door.
That's true.
It's hard to see how there's going to be change.